can tell if it's a good cigar.
Welcome to the Friday morning edition of Tennessee Valley This Morning. I'm the Hollywood Slinky. With me is Rob Alderman, who is now going to pick a topic. Are you ready?
Ready? Go! Chick-fil-A!
Ah, man.
You know what? We come on this show, and you get me all the time. I ask the normal questions. I ask the easy questions, but not today. Today, you have to respond. Chick-fil-A!
Well,
my Facebook page says it's crazy.
It's appropriate that you would ask me about the Chick-fil-A question today because you've got your lumberjack shirt with your hairy chest there with your shirt opened wide.
Well, I can unbutton it one more.
Today was the day that you would ask. You know, here's the thing. I have some mixed feelings about this. Okay?
Sure.
Number one, I think it's fair to say that I'm relatively liberal.
That is true.
And so the whole idea of whether or not gays should be allowed to marry or not is something I happen to fall on the side of. I think that they should.
Right.
I'm not saying
we went over this, and this is no camera
this is
one.
not new.
Camera one. This is not new. We talked about this back in North Carolina times.
Right. I'm not saying that I think that it is
North Carolina times.
Right. I'm not saying that I think that it is biblically correct.
When North Carolina did the thing that like 40 other states did.
Right. So anyway, I'm not saying that I believe it's biblically correct. I'm just saying that from a societal law standpoint,
right.
it is a rights issue.
Civil union rights.
Yes. So having said that, I'm not crazy about the fact that Chick-fil-A so blatantly, gives their money to that. But on the other side, I really don't like the idea that now before I shop anywhere, I need to research and find out where their profits are sent because I apparently am supposed to decide where I spend my money based on where that money is eventually going to end up.
Here's the thing, Facebook. This week you have shown your true colors. All right? My Facebook is a landmine-ridden place right now, Slinky, where I'm afraid to post any sort of comment about anything. And I love a good chicken sandwich. That is, at the end of the day,
isn't that the true
end of the day?
The true moral problem here, Camera One, is where will Rob get his chick sandwich
Here's the thing. We are quickly, what I'm going to say is this. We are very quickly, and this is regardless of what the issue is. Let's pretend it is not this issue. Let's pretend that there is a group of people out there that feel very strongly about the Whitney horn.
They don't want the Whitney horn on our show. They don't want
the Whitney horn on our show, okay? And they have in the past given money to some sort of organization.
The anti-Whitney horn.
The anti-Whitney horn association, okay? But I don't know because they're making a fantastic chicken sandwich. And then one day I find out, as much as I love the Whitney horn, there's a group of people and they don't like the Whitney horn.
And you just bought a chicken sandwich to fund your own protest.
When I eat the chicken sandwich, like 1/5 of a penny may go to these people that don't like the Whitney horn, right? And I'm just saying, my lunch break has been ruined. Do you know what I'm saying? But more importantly, Camera One, because we're not afraid to tackle the serious issues. More importantly, what it is this. Are we rapidly becoming a society where no one may have an opinion? Where there is no opinion.
It's not like Chick-fil-A, just to steal a phrase here, it's not like Chick-fil-A suddenly came out of the closet and went, surprise, we're a Christian company.
Right.
We all
That's what I'm saying. They're off on Sundays.
Right.
They're off on Sundays.
They
give to all sorts of conservative.
There's scripture on their menus or
right,
their walls.
And so we look at them then and we say,
how dare you be biblical, Christian organization?
Right, Chick-fil-A, look at you.
Right.
Look at you, Chick-fil-A. I am shocked and appalled.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not here to tell you whether you should or shouldn't buy some Chick-fil-A.
Well, let me throw one more thing out.
Okay, yeah, I'm ready.
Is for every dollar that they're sending to the anti-gay marriage group that they're doing, where's the rest of their profit going? Are they also giving to orphanages?
They are.
Are they also giving to other organizations that we
that has actually been released in several media outlets this week. is that they actually give to many orphanages.
So can't I
they build wells in third world countries. Maybe that's where my dollar goes.
So can't I just pretend that my dollar is one of those? That's what I think.
Not if you read my Facebook.
Well, no.
Okay, we've got a great show coming up.
I hope
do.
So.
We've got some big news. We've got some reviews. We've got some previews, and we have somebody on our show, Wes Thornton from CBC Downtown, to talk about the distilling of whiskey in Chattanooga, the rise of new cigars, his time in the cigar industry, and a cool event or two coming up in the Chattanooga area for those of you that want to hang out, drink some whiskey, and smoke a fine cigar.
And the only thing that
at Camera One, we know there's a lot of you.
The only thing that can make this morning better is if Joe Palo throws at us a little local nature.
Give us some nature, Joe.
Good morning, we are back.
We are.
It's time now for what?
The big news.
You know, the big news comes every morning from the Cleveland Daily Banner and
Indeed
a few other
it does.
local places that we find news. Why don't you start us off and tell us what's going on around town?
The headline for the Daily Banner, my friend, lets us know this. 3 mausoleums reopened after state's closure.
Oh my.
We're going to start with a little dead person talk.
Okay.
Jimmy Logan is on the case. 3 mausoleums at Sunset Memorial Gardens reopened to the public one day after a state investigator closed them down because a crypt leaked bodily fluids on the floor.
Wow.
An additional complaint of
This is
poor maintenance.
Occupy Nashville all over again.
Yeah, Eric Watson, get your video camera ready. An additional complaint of poor maintenance of the cemetery grounds is pending. Tennessee Department of Commerce and Insurance Communications Director Christopher Barrett said burial service staffers at the department received a complaint Monday morning from Ralph Buckner Funeral Home and Crematory. That makes me think of the way Steve Hartline says crematory.
Crematory.
Ralph Buckner Funeral Home and Crematory. A regulatory board field representative was on site the following morning at 8 to inspect the mausoleums. Buckner complained of bodily fluids on the floor and
who
unbearable...
wouldn't complain of bodily fluids on the floor? Let's be honest with ourselves.
Let's cut Ralph Buckner a little bit of slack. Ralph Buckner complained of bodily fluids on the floor and unbearable odors in the mausoleum. My parents and my daughter are in this mausoleum, and I'm distraught, to say the least.
Jimmy Logan.
Say the least.
Jimmy Logan is his attorney in this affair.
Yeah, well, listen. Jimmy Logan
Looking out for the people.
Yeah, he's the attorney.
Both alive and past.
Yeah, Jimmy's not going to put up with this.
No.
Jimmy's going to get in there and he's going to take a look. So we'll keep you informed as to the bodily fluids in the future. We'll find out. We're on the case here.
Yeah,
In other news, early voting surpasses 2008 with 5,477. Here's the deal, Slinky. Voters are turning out in Bradley County.
That's right. They're saying
people be voting.
They're saying a lot of this has to do with the wheel tax.
Yes. And when they say a lot of this, they mean
most.
All of it. Right, most of it. We still have not received a response from our multiple questions on this program.
That's right.
We've looked at you, Camera One, you viewers at home, and we have said multiple times we would love to host a wheel tax forum right here on our show.
And it's soon going to be too late.
We want some pros, we want some cons, maybe the mayor because he's super fun. I don't know that he has a lot to do with it, but he'd be fun.
My question
to have
is,
on.
but are you saying the mayor is a pro, or are you saying the mayor's a con?
I don't know. I will say this. Stephen Crass, we've invited him.
That's right.
The mayor, we've invited him. Adam Lowe's actually talked some wheel tax a little, as much as he
Well,
felt like he could.
He's talked around the wheel tax.
Yeah. But we're trying to invite all of them on here to talk wheel tax.
Right.
But either way, people are turning out in record numbers, and they're turning out because they've got an opinion on this wheel tax.
right.
And so you got to go out And you got to vote, people.
2008, the number was 5,189 early votes, and that was total. We're already at almost 5,500, and they've still got all day today.
Yeah, so you can still get out there and vote. Get out, tell people what you think about the wheel tax. I know what I think, but I'm not going to say it on this show.
That's right. You can go to his Facebook, facebook.com/Rob Alderman, and see what he thinks of the wheel tax.
Oh.
Next up.
Memorial Hospital lays off employees to trim costs. This is a sad one.
It is sad.
This one's sad. Memorial Healthcare Systems announced layoffs and restructuring plans today, laying off about 70 employees, or less than 2% of its workforce. Now, when you say less than 2%...
It's funny because then it sounds like it's a good thing, but it was only less than 2%.
Yeah, according to their press release, their president and CEO, James Hobson, cited the economic downturn and reform spurred by the federal health care law as reason for the layoffs. Now, we've seen this across the country. Folks, this is a sad situation. The health care reforms. This is a good, this is kind of wheel taxi.
Yeah.
When you think about it. This is one of those things where certain politicians, I won't name any, get on television on a national scale and they say that they're going to reform health care because health care has a problem. And nobody's saying health care doesn't have a problem. And nobody's saying health care doesn't have a problem.
Right. The solution is the debate.
Right. And so, well, the problem is there is no real debate. The reform is the debate at first.
Right.
And then the layoffs begin. And then the new debate becomes joblessness and homelessness.
Sure.
And so, to those politicians out there, I think I speak on behalf of at least 2% of the workforce of Memorial Hospital.
Well, just a little less than 2%.
Let's get this figured out.
Yeah.
But really, our thoughts and prayers do go out to all those people losing their job right now. That's rough stuff.
Well, what do we got in national news?
Here we go.
This is a sensitive issue.
As if starting with Chick-fil-A and moving into layoffs wasn't going to be sensitive enough, we're now going to discuss about the first Olympic banning over a tweet.
Now this is important for those of you, like for Rob and I, for example, we work in public relations. Alan Mincy, I wouldn't say he works, but he does do public relations. And the thing about this that's so momentous is that it is the first time an athlete has ever been banned from the Olympics because of a social media thing.
Correct.
And this person, it's a female named
Volia Papachristou.
Right, and she is from Greece. She was a triple jumper. She's 23 years old, and she tweeted a comment trying to be funny.
Yes.
And it's one of those comments that might be loosely acceptable to say amongst your friends in a room together, and folks would laugh because there's context. I know you're not really racist, and you're just kind of making fun of the fact that lots of people have traveled here and things like that. But when you send it out over social media and it goes to the whole world, it just comes across like you're a racist jerk.
This is the sort of comment that means no one will eat your chicken sandwiches. Here's the tweet. Right. We're going to go ahead and say it.
Okay.
But before we do, here's our disclaimer. Our disclaimer is this. Neither the Hollywood Slinky nor myself are commenting on the tweet itself. We're bringing you the news. That's what we're doing, Camera One. Bringing you news. So this is what she tweeted. This is what got her banned from participating in the Olympics.
Now, when you're finished reading it, right after you're done reading it, I'm going to pretend like it was a statement you just made. That way, if somebody tunes in right at that moment, they'll be like, I can't believe Rob Alderman just said that. All right, are you ready? I'm preparing the Whitney horn.
Yeah, I'm ready. Here's her tweet. On Wednesday, Vola Papachristou tweeted, "So many Africans in Greece, at least West Nile mosquitoes will eat homemade food."
Oh my gosh, Rob, that was awful. I can't believe you would just do that on television.
I know, right? So here's the thing. What I think is interesting is at 23. Now, you remember being 23? That was a long time ago.
It was last week.
Okay. A long time ago, back when the Hollywood Slinky was 23, he got indignant and angry about things that maybe he ought not to have. She's pissed.
Right.
This is what I like is her statement. She's saying that, I'm trying to stay calm, otherwise I'd lose control.
She's going to flip out.
What I believe is that they used their maximum disciplinary power on me for this. They went straight to the final stage and excluding me from the team, which was highly excessive. No, Vola Papachristou, what's highly excessive is an Olympic athlete tweeting anything like this. You clearly need to spend a little bit more time with mommy and daddy. In other news, the Olympic opening ceremonies are tonight, Slinky.
Wow.
It's going to be a fun time. You want to tell us about it?
Well, they are in London, and they are tonight. I don't really know a whole lot about this because I'm not really an Olympic person, but I do have a friend who happens to be incredibly knowledgeable on the subject of Olympics, and that is, of course, news radio host Steve Hartline, who, I mean, he has a lot of experience. He does reporting. They broadcast, you know, the Bradley High School games and stuff, so he knows what he's talking about. So right now, we go live to Steve Hartline in London.
Steve, are you with us?
Steve, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here. It keeps raining all over the place.
It's raining? I thought London was known for fog.
It's raining.
Now tell us this, Steve. How do you think these opening ceremonies are going to go?
Well, I'll tell you what. I came here just to see Michael Phelps, and he's not even going to be in them.
Well, you know, it's funny because Michael Phelps had actually said that you know, the opening ceremonies for the Olympics are his highest priority, but then he wasn't going to be there.
Really? I missed that part.
He didn't actually say that.
Hartline, tell me this. How does the Olympics compare to the Bradley Cleveland high school football game? Because, you know, there's a lot of people that turn out for that. It's almost impossible to get parking.
That's right.
It's like kind of the most weighted on athletic event here in
Traffic
town.
on Lee Highway backs up. They have special football lanes you have to drive in to get in and out of the school.
Right. So
like
what is that
Olympic
like compared to London right now?
Yeah, it's kind of low-key here. It's not nearly that bad.
Well, that's not what they're saying. They're saying it's really bad. Mitt Romney said that.
What does he know?
Well, you know, Mitt Romney is saying that the British folks are not handling the Olympics very well. That they're complaining too much. That
Well,
they're
the
saying it's too
problem
difficult.
is that every time I go to get something, they're all drinking tea.
You know what else, Steve? I'll tell you something else. I wish that before we had ran this segment that we would have thought of some funnier things to say to you because this segment is bombing really terribly.
It's the hat. Is this hat new?
Yeah, I'm wearing the hat because it's raining all the time.
I hate this show so much. I hate being on television.
Let me ask you this, Steve.
I always end up confessing during this piece of the show. I hate being on television, and I'm not really certain how Joe Palo convinced me to be on television.
So, did the Doctor Who guy show up and carry the torch? Do we know, did that happen?
Yeah, a few weeks ago.
Oh, so now Steve gets indignant.
Steve, I'm going to ask you to go away so I can retain any bit of pride and dignity in my humanity. In Hollywood news, tell us about the Jackson family.
The Jackson family is insane. This just in. No, we've known for decades.
What happened this time?
Well, early this week.
I can't understand these notes.
These are just my notes.
This says Jackson family is insane. Mom, Catherine, nephew, TJ, Tito's son.
That's right. This is just notes.
Did I cover it?
No, they're just notes. Catherine is, of course, Michael's mom, and she has custody of Michael's 3 children, who are named
Blanket. Tito?
No, Blanket, Paris, and Prince.
Crap.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to miss those other two.
At least Michael
Blanket is so memorable.
At least Michael gave them normal names.
Okay, Blanket, Paris, and Prince.
That's right. Well, you know, when Michael passed away, the custody of them went to Michael's mother, who is Catherine. Well, Monday this week, she disappeared. There was no contact with her. Nobody knew where she went, where she was, what was going on. And several of the other Jacksons, in particular Randy Jackson, and I believe Janet, kind of started being all suspicious about it. And so there were all of these...
When the children disappeared?
No, when the mom disappeared.
Oh, okay.
And so there were all of these accusations going around on the internet. You know, little Paris is tweeting now because she's like 14.
Okay.
And doesn't that make you feel old?
I felt old long before this.
Okay. And so anyway, there was all the suspicion that Catherine was being held hostage in Arizona.
Really?
By the other Jackson 4, I guess now. Yeah, and it was really got ridiculous. And so it went so far, in fact, that a judge gave temporary custody to Michael Jackson's nephew, TJ, who is Tito's son. And so right now, Tito's son has custody of the children, because Catherine was missing. Now yesterday, on Thursday, she showed back up and now they're saying that she showed back up brainwashed because she was like, I just needed to get away for a little while.
Really?
Bizarre stuff going on in the Jackson family.
Tell me about some Gangster Squad.
Well, Gangster Squad is reshooting a couple of scenes. We're going to talk more about this later. But they're reshooting some scenes in response to the Colorado situation.
Yeah.
And they are major enough scenes that the reschedule is being pushed back from September all the way to January, which is huge because this was a movie they thought was going to be an Oscar contender, and moving it to January makes it no longer eligible for this year's Oscars. And of course, the last thing we're going to talk about here is, and this is big news I think for folks at home, you'll probably be surprised to learn this, but Snooki is still pregnant.
We're going to be right back with
And Wes Thornton from the CBC.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Bradley County is home to a community of resilient, compassionate families who want the best for each other. The tragedies of the April 27, 2011 tornadoes brought our community together to bring aid to the hurting and helpless. It is time to come together once more. The Bradley County school system is underfunded, and our future leaders are receiving their education in substandard learning environments. On August 2nd, you will have an opportunity to further impact our great community by voting for the wheel tax. A vote for the wheel tax will not only rebuild Blue Springs Elementary School, but it will provide a new facility that is engineered to meet the demands that technology places on the infrastructure. The overcrowded Walker Valley High School students and teachers will have much needed space and be able to use academic rooms for their intended purposes. The students and teachers of Lake Forest Middle School will no longer endure the hazardous conditions caused by the elements of nature and deteriorating classroom buildings. British philosopher Herbert Spencer stated, "The great aim of education is not knowledge, but action." Would you take action in the name of education and vote yes for the wheel tax? A vote for the wheel tax is a vote for the children and the future of Bradley County.
Featuring some of the South's most scenic views, the Mountain View Inn has been a landmark in the Cleveland community for over 40 years. Our executive guest quarters with flat-screen TVs and excellent bedding will make any guest comfortable. Carrie's Restaurant is one of Cleveland's favorite, with one of the best buffets around.
Hello, and on behalf of the Hughes family, thank you for so many years of your business and your friendship.
And we're back. You're watching Tennessee Valley This Morning. I'm Rob Alderman. With me, as always, my stalwart traveling companion, the Hollywood Slinky. And with us today, this morning, we have Wes Thornton from the downtown Chattanooga CBC. Wes is a man of refined tastes in cigars and whiskey, and he's going to be here to tell us about his cigar experiences. Wes, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Let me start by saying the Steve Hartline bit was amazing.
There you go.
You know, this was brilliant until you said Steve Hartline.
Now here's what you don't know, camera two. What happened in the and we appreciate you saying that because we think the show is pretty brilliant. During the commercial break, the puppet got out of control. The puppet got really angry, and he was like, I wasn't supposed to be Steve Hartline today. I was supposed to be somebody else. And you know how puppets are.
They're uppity.
You know, it's part of it is that you pay them so much.
Right.
You pay them a lot, and they feel entitled.
Yeah.
That's part of it. They don't even care about the wheel tax. They've got so
Right.
many cars. They've got all that. They're like, I'll pay the wheel tax. I'll do whatever.
Sure. But when
whatever I want.
he got uppity with me once, and I was like, man, what crawled up his butt? And it turned out it was the puppeteer's hand.
Well, this is what's funny about that, is that, you know, the puppet, he gets angry when we tell him that he's Steve Hartline. He gets mad. And he's always like, I'm a little bit taller than Steve
and
Hartline.
let's be honest, even Steve Hartline is upset to be Steve Hartline.
That's absolutely true. But you missed that drama, but we appreciate you, Wes, for letting us know that you thought that that segment was brilliant. Now, Wes, you are the manager of the smoke section of CBC. Is that
Burns
correct?
Tobacconist downtown, yes.
And how long have you been doing that?
Approaching 2 years.
2 years. Now, where were you before that?
I had my own insurance agency, actually,
Yeah?
and it was really boring. And I started smoking cigars, fell in love with it. Now I run a shop.
Now,
So what is the difference between Burns Tobacconist and CBC? For those of you folks at home who don't know.
It's two different businesses in the same building, same owner. It's essentially set up for accounting reasons, I imagine.
So the tobacconist is actually the room where you buy your cigars.
Yes.
And then the rest of the space is the CBC, which is the billiards club,
Yes.
and where you can enjoy your cigar.
now there are a lot of people out there, Wes, when you're looking out here into the cameras.
At all of the fans.
There's many, okay, out there. And they say to themselves, I enjoy a cigar. I enjoy to smoke a fine cigar. But they're probably like what they think is smoking a good
The puppet's
cigar.
over there shaking his head going, I don't enjoy a good cigar. I'm not saying that. What are you talking about?
But here's the deal. There's some people out there, and they probably fancy themselves to be cigar smokers. How many cigars do you smoke a day?
On a good day, I shoot for 6 to 8.
6 to 8 cigars a day.
And what's that cost someone to smoke 6 to 8
A
cigars?
person that doesn't manage a store, you mean? That you're going to be,
That's like $100 a day.
yeah, I mean, on average, you're going to pay $7 or $8 for a decent premium cigar. So, yeah, it's not a cheap habit by any means.
Now, I have heard you say in the past that you have kind of mentored under some other cigar people, right? Could you tell us a little bit about how you kind of got into the cigar business and maybe who you've worked with, who mentored you in the past?
I started hanging out at the Burns East location, which is on Jordan Drive, and Matt Allen that manages that store. I graduated high school with him, so he's the one. It's his fault. He got me into cigars. I started hanging out there, and became friends with Phil, who owns all three of them, and he's the one that got me into cigars, well, Matt and Phil. And then as far as mentors, the cigar industry is really small. It's a tight-knit group. And so between Twitter, Facebook, other social medias, it's easy to gain access to a cigar manufacturer that's in the Dominican Republic or Nicaragua. I can send a message to Guillermo Leon, who owns La Aurora Cigar Company. He'll tweet me right back. And so people like that have helped with my education. As far as people that I kind of try to shadow, there's a gentleman named Michael Herklotz. He ran the Davidoff store in Manhattan, New York. Really high-end place, but he did a lot of out-of-the-box things, and he now has moved on. He runs Nat Sherman Cigar Company, and he's 30 years old, same as me, and he's running a company. So obviously a guy I want to copy, basically.
Sure. Now, downtown, why don't you tell us a little bit about your location, where you guys are located downtown, and just a little bit about the establishment.
We're located at 725 Cherry Street. It's in between 7th and 8th Street, right next to the SunTrust Bank. Probably the biggest Scotch and whiskey selection in Chattanooga. We've got about 400 different facings of cigars to choose from, all over the price spectrum. They range from $3 to $42 a piece, from all over the world.
One of the things I like about this, and you've been down there with me for some of this, is downtown at the downtown location. You guys host cigar. They're like a cigar tasting events. How often do you do those?
We have been doing them for about the past 3 years, the last Wednesday of every month. It's become a little redundant, so I'm starting to mix that up a bit. So yesterday was actually the last Wednesday of the month. Or hold on, this is going to air Friday. 2 days ago was the last one.
No, because this is Friday morning live.
Friday morning
right now.
live.
Yes.
Right now.
Friday morning.
So
this is Friday morning.
No, it's
live.
oh, absolutely.
So 2 days ago on Wednesday was the last Wednesday of the month, but we did not have an event because of a very large event we're having tomorrow, Saturday night, at the downtown location.
Well, tell us about the event. What's going on tomorrow night?
The event is a huge honor for us, one of the biggest things we've ever done. We got chosen to release a new cigar from Miami Cigar Company called the La Serena Merlion, which I have in my hand. Rob has in his hand. Probably going to go to CBC Cleveland tonight and enjoy these. This cigar...
I'm completely for that, by the way.
Yes, okay, we're in. This cigar...
I wasn't invited, camera two.
I have more.
Wasn't invited.
Yeah, you're invited now. You're invited.
Yeah, you're in, man.
Don't act like the puppet.
I supply cigars, you supply beverages. That's the way this works.
That's fair. That's fair.
So anyway, this cigar, we were chosen to release this cigar, the first store in the entire country to be able to have it. So we have this cigar about 2 weeks prior to any other store in the United States. Rob and I are two of the first people on earth that are going to be able to smoke this cigar tonight because we just got them today.
I like that.
And
Did you
so,
see how he just totally excluded me again? Man.
You're such a sissy.
Wow. I'm feeling like Steve Hartline.
Here, you want to hold this?
I do.
Be easy with it since you don't like cigars.
Yeah. All right, well, let me ask you some questions about this cigar, all right? This is a Merlion. It says Merlion.
yes.
So it's got a little picture of a lion with a fishtail on it. So it's literally a Merlion. All right.
It's a pretty band.
It is. It's actually a pretty.
It's one of the nicest cigar bands I've ever seen, actually.
So, what's this cigar run, and what is so special about it?
First, I'll give you an education on the name. La Serena is mermaid in Spanish, which is the baseline. So let's call it a Ford. This would be the Taurus or the, I don't know, what's another
Merlion.
Ford?
Yeah, Mustang or an F-150 or...
Okay, so La Serena is the main brand name. And then they came out with the first cigar, which is very full body. It's been on the market for a year or so. This is a new one, which is medium body. It's a lot more my speed. But anyway, La Serena is Spanish for mermaid. The girl that is the brand ambassador for this cigar, her name is Ariel Ditkowicz.
That's weird.
Ariel,
the
mermaid.
mermaid.
You see what I'm...
This is getting crazy.
So anyway, Merlion, this cigar is made by the La Aurora Cigar Factory. Their symbol for their company is a lion. So they bring them together, which gives you a Merlion. This cigar is going to retail, there's 3 different sizes starting out. There's a Robusto, a Toro, and a Gran Toro. And they're going to be, let's call it $9 to $10.
Now, what size are you holding right now?
This is a Toro.
So you can hold that up there you go. So that's a Toro. So that's going to run around $9 to $10.
This one is going to be closer to 9.25, something like that. Yep.
And you said it's a medium body.
Mm-hmm.
So not necessarily for the cigar uninitiated, but it's a little bit smoother than something that would be really, really heavy.
If you're a new cigar smoker and you're going to enjoy a beverage, medium body is what I would recommend to start with.
Now, so these are going to actually be released tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
And so people can come down and take part in the event, and they'll be part of the group, the first group in the country to smoke these cigars. That's a huge honor.
It is. We're actually releasing this cigar at the Burns East location tonight, Friday night, and it's just going to be a regular sales event, so you can get your hands on it that day, or you can wait till Saturday and come to my location. We're doing a little different. We're just going to throw a party. And so we're doing that party in partnership with Chattanooga Whiskey Company, good friends of ours.
Yep.
We're going to have music. We're going to have a full portable bar in our dining room. Starts at 7 o'clock. We stay up until 3 a.m. and we'll stay as long as people want to keep going. And if they want to keep going after that, we'll go somewhere else. So
they're not afraid downtown. Downtown, they're not afraid of their Chattanooga whiskey and their Merlion cigars.
And for folks at home who are wondering what is the connection to Cleveland, what is you know, they have 3 locations, and obviously one of them is across from the 5 Point Museum right here in Cleveland. So now, are they going to have this cigar at some point?
Eventually. I would give it a couple of weeks, but yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a fantastic location down across from the 5 Points. If you haven't ever been to the other locations, there's one just off of Shallowford Road, and then Wes's store that's downtown. Now you also have another big event coming up. Why don't you tell us about the cigar tweet up and what that is and when that is, and because you were telling me about this a couple days ago, and it looks like it's huge.
It is huge. It's called the Chattanooga Tweet Up, and we started doing this last year, and it's an event that we kind of tried to start last year, and it did really well, and we tried really hard to make it a good event. We contacted a lot of manufacturers last year to come be a part of this event with us. This year, they were contacting us to ask if they can please be a part of this event. So it's gone out the roof. Essentially, Chattanooga Tweet Up was an event that got born on Twitter. I'm on Twitter pretty heavy. The stores are on Twitter. A lot of people in the cigar industry are on Twitter. There's a lot of bloggers, manufacturers, and just consumers that like to smoke cigars are really heavy on Twitter all the time. And so this event is a weekend event. It's on August 24th through 25th. It's a Friday and Saturday night. We have at least 50 to 60 different manufacturers will be represented. Some of the brand owners, Chattanooga Whiskey will be there. Huge event. The best way to get information on it is there's a website called Tiki Bar Online, TIKI baronline.com. There's a link on there for Chattanooga Tweet Up. You can read all about it.
And there's going to be all sorts of people there. I was looking. The list is huge.
There's going to be a lot of names that your general consumer probably haven't heard of. If you're in the cigars, you will definitely know people there. Like I said, about 50 companies are going to be represented. A lot of those are brand owners. And then also we have customers from all over the country. They're flying in, they're driving in, they're riding horses, whatever.
Yeah, it's a couple days long, right? This is a full weekend.
Yep.
Now, I thought it was interesting. You said that there is a Chattanooga whiskey. Now, is that, is that just a local, I'm asking you about something that's not really even your company, but do they actually, make the whiskey here in Chattanooga?
They do not. Chattanooga Whiskey Company are good friends of mine. I've known them for a long time prior to the whiskey company. And Joe, one of the owners for Chattanooga Whiskey, was supposed to be here. He had an appointment. He couldn't make it. So I will act as Chattanooga Whiskey ambassador. Let me do that.
There you go.
So Chattanooga Whiskey is currently distilled in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, because in the Prohibition days, 100 years ago, they made a law where you couldn't distill whiskey in Tennessee counties. Then I believe, don't quote me on this exactly, but I believe around 2009, they gave basically all the counties in Tennessee the option to get rid of that. And there were 2 counties, from what I understand, that did not change the law, and Hamilton County was one of those counties. So you cannot distill whiskey in Hamilton County right now. So Chattanooga Whiskey, their long-term goal is to be able to bring Chattanooga, or to bring whiskey back to Chattanooga, because there used to be several distilleries in Chattanooga.
Now, what about guys like Alan Mincy who distill whiskey in their backyard?
Secretly.
Chattanooga Whiskey is wanting to do it legally. I think they want to go in the laws because they do want to sell it in a retail environment, not out of their trunk.
That's fair.
Right.
That's fair.
And Alan definitely sells it out of his trunk.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So
he calls his whiskey, it's called Green Lantern. He actually dyes it green. Every day is St. Patrick's Day when you're drinking Alan Mincy's Green Lantern whiskey.
I don't even know what to say about this, what just happened to the segment, Alan. I'm sorry. That's what I'll say. Well, Wes, thanks for being on our show.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you hiding the Flash costume in your ring? Because it's huge.
Those rings are for real.
Those are like, you know what I mean? He's got like the Flash costume hidden in that ring. And he's
I do work downtown, so
That's just in case.
Yeah.
That's just in case things get real.
Those are what we
If the
call
taser- if the taser
walloping
doesn't work.
rings.
Those are pretty serious.
They're walloping rings.
Well, Wes, there is a tradition here on our show.
Yes, there is.
Before we let a guest go, the Slinky here asks you 4 movie questions.
Uh-oh.
Okay? So he's about to go through his Hollywood Slinky thing. This is very important.
Let's do it.
All right. Number 1, what is your favorite movie of all time?
Can I give you like a top 3? Or do you have to have a favorite?
We'll compromise, and you can give me 2.
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? Back to the Future 2.
Both excellent choices.
All right. What do you think is the best film ever made?
I don't have a good answer for that. I'm not a film critic by any means. I like
Neither
I like
are we.
really clever movies with smart people or very smart people that make them. So, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Super clever.
All right, that could be a fair answer.
That's that's one of my favorites.
All right, what do you think is the funniest movie ever made?
Tommy Boy.
Good,
Also fair.
strong. All right, and then the last question is, what movie have you seen more times than any other?
That one's easy. It's Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I used to watch it at least twice a day.
There you go. While you were enjoying your $100 worth of cigars.
Yes.
Well, before we go, where can people find you online?
You can find me personally easy on Twitter, Cigar Wes, at Cigar Wes, 1S. The store, you can go to burnstobacconist.com.
And you got a big event tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night,
So if
7
you want to
p.m.
be one of the first people in the country to try the Merlion, head on down to Wes and the Chattanooga Whiskey Company and their Merlion party, because it's going to be fantastic.
And I'm sure if you have any questions, any other questions about this or the details, you could probably just stop by the CBC here in Cleveland and ask as well, and they could certainly hook you up with the information.
Well, we're going to be right back. Wes, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
We're going to be right back to talk about some national news right after this.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Bradley County is home to a community of resilient, compassionate families who want the best for each other. The tragedies of the April 27, 2011 tornadoes brought our community together to bring aid to the hurting and helpless. It is time to come together once more. The Bradley County school system is underfunded, and our future leaders are receiving their education in substandard learning environments. On August 2nd, you will have an opportunity to further impact our great community by voting for the wheel tax. A vote for the wheel tax will not only rebuild Blue Springs Elementary School, but it will provide a new facility that is engineered to meet the demands that technology places on the infrastructure. The overcrowded Walker Valley High School students and teachers will have much needed space and be able to use academic rooms for their intended purposes. The students and teachers of Lake Forest Middle School will no longer endure the hazardous conditions caused by the elements of nature and deteriorating classroom buildings. British philosopher Herbert Spencer stated, "The great aim of education is not knowledge, but action." Would you take action in the name of education and vote yes for the wheel tax? A vote for the wheel tax is a vote for the children and the future of Bradley County.
Featuring some of the South's most scenic views, the Mountain View Inn has been a landmark in the Cleveland community for over 40 years. Our executive guest quarters with flat screen TVs and excellent bedding will make any guest comfortable. Carrie's Restaurant is one of Cleveland's favorite, with one of the best buffets around.
Hello, and on behalf of the Hughes family, thank you for so many years of your business and your friendship.
Welcome back to Tennessee Valley This Morning. That was Nature, courtesy of Joe Palo. I am the Hollywood Slinky. This is Rob Alderman. And with us on the end now, joining us is pop culture enthusiast Ashley Redford.
Long-time collaborator. You know, he's not really on as a guest today. We're doing some commentary.
That's right. This is the op-ed portion of our series.
Yeah, it is. We're just going to do a short... Here's the thing. You know, this show, we've always, since the days in the podcast, we've been dedicated to film news.
That's right.
And we do a little bit more film news on this show than most morning news shows would do. But obviously, this last week has been marked by massive tragedy out in Colorado. On the opening night, on the premiere of the new Batman film that we've all talked about, Ryan and I both gave it a great on the last show. And on opening night out in Aurora, Colorado, a gunman broke into a movie theater and opened fire, killing over a dozen people and wounding somewhere now they're in the neighborhood
almost
of
60.
I was going to say 55, but almost 60, huh?
Yeah, I think it's 50. I think is the official count now.
So among those dead, a small child, and obviously a bunch of innocent moviegoers, and the police are still trying to figure out why, what the home was booby-trapped. There were all sorts of weapons and guns.
It turns out it just came out yesterday that he mailed a notebook of some sort of. The press is saying it might be a manifesto. Nobody's quite sure yet, but he mailed a package that contained a notebook to one of his professors at his school the same day as the shooting.
And you know, there are mixed reports about him as far as motives. So far, we don't really know the motives.
But he is not talking.
He's not talking. On one hand, you have people that say he was a nice, soft-spoken young man that never gave anybody a bit of trouble. On the other hand, when the Aurora police called his mother, she said, "You have the right guy. I'm on my way." So clearly,
she's now saying that has been taken out of context, and
maybe it has. Right. We did though want to take a minute on this show, not only just to I guess say that you know, obviously our thoughts and prayers are with all the families of the victims and with people all around the country that are now frightened, but to talk a little bit about what the response is going to be across the country, and what the effect might be on the film industry, and what we, at least on this show, think it ought to be. So let's get into that.
I think first, I think we should just throw out what the couple of effects we have seen. Right away, the AMC theater chain banned prop weapons and masks. So anyone who is going to any sort of movie premiere at an AMC theater can no longer bring plastic guns or wear masks. So if they're seeing Batman, they can no longer wear the Batman mask. I've seen a lot of commentary on that, saying things like, only in America are we so pro-gun that we would respond to gun violence by saying you can't wear masks. I don't know how I feel about that. That's kind of drawing, I think, an awful stretch. But I know that Christian Bale, who of course plays Batman, he showed up at the hospital and visited a lot of the victims. The studios behind the film, Warner Brothers and Legendary Pictures, both got together and they've made a large donation. Rumor is it's somewhere around $1 million to a fund that is being created to help the victims' families there in Colorado. Of course, we mentioned earlier the Gangster Squad. Gangster Squad is a new movie coming out, and it has a very large scene that was shot inside Grumman's Chinese Theater in Hollywood, in which the gangsters actually stand at the front of the screen and shoot their Tommy guns at the people in the audience, which is a rather frightening similarity to what happened in Aurora. And that whole scene is being removed from the film and reshot. And my understanding is that is kind of a important plot point in the movie. And so the reshoot of that is requiring extensive work. This is not the first time that Hollywood, of course, has reacted by changing things in movies. We all remember the Spider-Man, for the original Spider-Man movie, that trailer had Spider-Man in a web between the Twin Towers, and that trailer had to be pulled after 9/11. And of course, there was a lot of reactions to movies being changed after 9/11, and I think that this is very similar.
Now I will say that I went the day after. I was supposed to go, and so that evening I did, and I went to the movie theater, and I noticed crowds were down. There were nowhere near.
Packed.
It was not a packed theater, and I didn't go to a particularly early show. I think I was at the 7, you know, and I will say this: even the crowd I was with, they had a good time. It was a good time in the film. It's a good film, by the way, but I will say that there was a lot of extra vigilance. It's sort of like after we had the tornadoes here in town, anytime there's a thunderstorm, people sort of...
They get on edge.
They get a little bit on edge. In the movie theater I was in, every single time somebody walked into the theater late, the entire crowd turned towards the edge. So I know that I did, even subconsciously, I was sort of keeping one eye on the film and one eye on the aisle.
Well, I did the same thing as I went the next night. I was out of town and I was with some friends and we went to a theater there in their town, and it was the same way. It was actually a really small crowd. It just wasn't nearly as big as you thought, and it was that same idea. You walked in and you're kind of keeping an eye on everyone coming in, and the movie itself is an intense movie. There are scenes in there that you're like, I mean, they get your adrenaline going,
right,
in the same way that you can imagine something like that would feel. And so that on top of seeing these people come in late, or there's this one guy that kept walking in and out, that was really disturbing. But little things like that, it definitely puts you on edge. And, you know, and this isn't Colorado. I don't think you can talk about this without bringing up Columbine to a certain extent. It was 17 miles away from where the Columbine shooting
and a
happened.
few years earlier in Aurora, there was also a shooting.
Correct.
So Colorado has had a lot. My thoughts and prayers go out to anyone that this happens to, Virginia Tech, all those things. But Colorado's had their fair share of this kind of thing in the last 12 years or so. And
yeah, you know, we make a lot of fun on my Facebook page, but I actually saw something on Facebook yesterday of one of my friends carries a gun, and he is a conceal and carry permit, and he was asked to leave the theater and go put his gun back in his car when somebody noticed that he was carrying his gun. And I will be honest, I have a conceal and carry permit, as both you guys know, and I am often carrying a gun in public and feel more comfortable with people. You know, that's my particular belief. I actually feel more comfortable. I'm not a gun nut. I'm not saying everybody should be shooting their guns, but I have carried a gun into movie theaters on plenty of occasions. And you know, there are many sides to this that we won't be able to get to in the time we have. But there are probably some people out there who feel like if there had been some concealed and carried people in that movie theater, the death toll would not have been as big, and you can argue that either way.
Right.
You can. I don't know what, you know. Who's to say that you know, if a gunman opens fire in the you know, everybody of course likes to believe they would be a hero, but maybe you just throw your girlfriend on the ground and cover up even if you've got a gun on your back.
This was a guy standing underneath the brightest spot in a dark room.
Right.
And he was wearing all black, and he had thrown some sort of smoke or tear
grenade,
gas.
correct.
So this idea that if someone else had a gun in that room, they could have
There's
taken
just no
care
way
of it.
to know.
I have a hard time believing that is as sure a statement as people are making it out to be.
But it is as sure a statement as saying that concealed and carry permit people are adding to the problem. That's not what this guy was.
Right.
And it's not typically what any of these people are. So,
Yeah.
so you know, your average citizen who goes about gun permits the right way is not the person that people have to fear.
Right. Well, you know, guns don't kill people. People kill people.
Absolutely.
And so I really feel like I think it's time for people to stop killing people with guns and start using flowers.
I will say this as we move to our final piece of the segment is, in my personal opinion, I would hope that folks out there won't let this deter them from going to the movies.
But it's definitely, I think, going to affect moviegoing for the next few months. I think people are going to be uneasy, and it may even go further than that. I think we're going to see increases in security. Although, I'll tell you this, I saw Spider-Man very late last night. The showing got out at about midnight, and we walked, you were with, and we walked out of the theater.
Yes, we did.
This was at the Premiere Theater here in Cleveland.
We walked out 11:30 that night.
We walked out of the theater and into the lobby, and there was not a soul in that lobby. There was no one who works there or anything, and that bothered me.
It was a little spooky. We're not condemning
I'm
the
not
theater
trying to pick on
for
them.
whatever their practices are, the way that. But it was weird to walk into the lobby and know that
There's nobody there but us.
Anyone could have walked in. You're talking about, and I don't know what it was like at Aurora. I have no idea who was in the lobby, who wasn't in the lobby. I do know that the movie that we just saw for your birthday, anyone could come in, and there was nobody in the lobby.
Yeah, and that made me a little uneasy. And I think that we're going to see people feeling that way, and that's going to affect things like a security guard in the lobby or doors being perhaps locked a little better or things of that nature.
Sure. You got anything else on this?
No, I mean, like we all said, our thoughts and prayers go out to the families involved, and it's a horrible thing. It's gonna affect movies to some extent, and I think that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, we can't encourage you enough. Go out and see a movie. Don't let fear be the thing that runs your life. We're going to be right back with the preview review after this.
Or perhaps just with closing credits.
Yeah, we don't know. I'm not sure how long, but Joe's going to tell us.
Hello, I'm Robert Thompson. I'm a partner here at the law firm of Logan Thompson, and I've been practicing law for about 25 years. I focus primarily on complex litigation cases involving serious personal injury. To establish liability, it's important that we thoroughly investigate your case. And we're fortunate here at Logan Thompson to have a full-time investigator on staff. And once we establish liability, next we turn to the issue of damages. Under Tennessee law, you're entitled to be compensated for 5 elements of damages. The first is property damage, and then your medical bills, lost wages, pain and suffering, and loss of enjoyment of life. If you or a family member have been injured in an automobile accident, would like to sit down and discuss with us what you're entitled to, please give us a call at your convenience. There's no charge for the initial consultation. I'm Robert Thompson with the law firm Logan Thompson, and we'd be honored to help you.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
I got it. Ready? Welcome to the preview review. Here we go. Step Up Revolution comes out this weekend. It's about a guy, a professional dancer, who falls in love with somebody else, who is a young man who leads a dance crew in elaborate cutting-edge flash mobs.
Hate it.
Next up, oh, I hate it too. Next up, The Watch, starring Ben Stiller, Vince Vaughn, Rosemary DeWitt, Jonah Hill, everybody who's pretty much funny. It's about a bunch of people that go and they're living their lives and they're feeling kind of bored until they find out that all of their neighbors are actually aliens and they have to save their neighborhood.
Gonna be great.
And the world.
Great.
Great. Bye. I give it a great. Bye.